So, as everybody remember, I believe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, give or take, where we talked about the LGBTQ plus community as well as the parents, as well as the agenda of being placed in schools and different things. And I want to bring briefly more into looking at all of these different topics, as well as a few interesting topics that I also want to include that has to do with the transgender community, which is the major, big one. And of course, we're also going to be reacting to videos, and we're going to be pausing and playing some of the parts and give our thoughts and opinions. So with me, as always, I have the lovely Nick, and I also have Mr. X. How are you guys doing?
Hold that video for about 30 seconds if you're going to show. Just give me a second.
Way to get into this, because I said hello.
Rick, 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 Rick,
I'm
Rick.
here.
He's like,
I'm here. I had to
Dean
grab
just
a
wants
blanket.
us to say hello to everybody, and Rick's is like, hold up,
Okay.
wait, nope, like, pause that.
I apologize, but hello, everybody now. I had to get a blanket because I was a little chilly.
Oh, man. I love you, Rick.
Okay. Anyway,
Oh my
resume.
god, we were starting out at a good point.
Hey, at least they know we're having fun.
Okay. All right. I am on par, however you want to call it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's move forward. This is when I need the soundboard.
That's what I
Okay.
meant. That's what I meant.
Okay. So now so now that we got his blanket and the fact that he's cold out of the way. So, as we over mentioned like a few weeks ago, we talked about medical history. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. We talk about the medical history of needing consent, that the parent no longer have the authority, have the medical history of the child due due to whatever reason it was. Are you following me here?
Yeah, we talked about more of like the government roles and like hospitals and stuff with parents. And yeah.
So today, what I want to look into would be quite a few things. Starting off with, of course, we're gonna talk about like a little bit of everything, but We're gonna talk about the transgender community, as well as the "Don't Say Gay" bill, which is pretty controversial according to many. But what I want to start off with would be just the general questions. Do you believe that the LGBTQ plus community is going too far in terms of everything that you have seen and read so far? Richard,
Um,
starting it with you. Okay, no, then never mind. We're gonna start it with you, then, Nick.
okay, I'm ready. Do I think the LGBTQ is going too far? No. Do I think progressives are going too far? Yes. Um, and the reason I say that is because not every progressive that is out there pushing this belongs. Well, one, first of all, they don't all belong to the LGBT community. Um, there's a lot of progressives that are out there speaking on behalf of a community that they don't even belong to. And second off, not everybody in the LGBT community is a progressive. I know sometimes media paints it like everybody that's in the trans community or the LGBTQ LGBTQ community is a progressive, but that's not the case. And so, do I think LGBTQ community is going too far? No. Do I think that the progressives that may be inside the community and other communities are going too far? Yes.
So I want to ask you before we go into it a little bit further. I want you to explain what exactly is progressive.
So, to me, a progressive is somebody who is, well, the word is progressive. We all know what progressive means, right? But somebody that is in your face, we got to do this, we got to change that, over the top, right? Like over the top. Because you have Democrats, you have liberals, and then you have your progressive liberals. And your progressive liberals are the ones that are out there crying and whining and fighting for shit that does not really matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. Um, that's my personal opinion of what a progressive is. Somebody who is out there and doesn't just want to be out there themselves, but wants the entire world to be out there. So they're gonna push their stuff in schools. They're gonna push their stuff in on TV. They're gonna put, like, anywhere they can push their stuff. They're gonna push their stuff. And for me, it's that's the difference between a progressive and a conservative or a liberal, or like it's all about me, and everybody has to cater to me, and everybody has to be like me. That's what a progressive is, in my opinion.
Alright, so Rex, do you have
Yeah,
anything to say?
that sounds similar to progressive, like people like, oh, we got to do this and that. They're like, they're the boss, and they're going right in your face telling you how to do things. I don't like, I don't like people like that unless for, for some good legit reason. But anyway, back on track. Okay.
Well, I did ask you, Rex. Well, I did ask both of you, like if you think, because I don't think I got your response, direct response to this. Do you believe that the LGBTQ community is going too far? Do you believe? Do you agree or do you not?
Some are and some aren't. It depends on who you're talking about and what group.
Also, my favorite topic of the day, which is what I've been waiting and craving for, this been saying for at least a very long time now, because I feel like lately the phobia, or at least the term phobia, has been thrown around a lot, and I mean a lot. So here's the
In the
biggest,
last 10 years, yes.
yeah. But here's the biggest question that I feel would be, just for everybody out there. We're doing this judgment free. We're not like bashing. We're not doing this. Is just our thoughts and opinions. What do you guys feel on the words transphobia?
Rex, go ahead. You can answer first.
Well,
Or at least what do
transphobia,
you consider transphobia in your opinion?
transphobia means people who, how do you put it this way, delicately? It's like, it's not there a fear of it, but there is some kind of fear, like, oh, I don't want those people around me or something like that. That's part of it. But the other part of it is transphobia is, where people consider that it is not natural. That's what a lot of people are saying. And there's a few other things, but I right now I'm mind blank, so I'm gonna pass it on to the next.
Um. Okay. So the and this might actually surprise you. I'm just gonna put this up because we all phobia is typically phobias are fears of different things for whatever reason, right? Now, this is the literal definition of transphobia in case somebody didn't know. Negative attitudes, feelings, or actions towards transgender people or transness in general. Okay. That is the literal definition of transphobia. I think the definition is weird, but I think it's worded the way it's worded so that they can freely throw it around the way that they are throwing it around. Um, but in my personal opinion, I don't know of a single person who has negative attitudes or feelings against the person. I have no negative attitudes, actions, or feelings against a person who happens to be transgender. If you are an adult and you are transgender, that is your right. You do you, you live your life. Okay. I don't have negative attitudes towards people. I love all people. I don't care what your problem may be. I have my own problem. I'm not transphobic because I believe there are two genders. Believing there are two genders is not transphobic. Believing that children should not be mutilated is not transphobic. But the moment that you say there's only two genders, or I believe their children shouldn't be mutilated, oh, you're transphobic. No, I'm not. I just don't think you need to go around doing medical mutilation on children. Okay. That's my point of view. It's an overused word and they need to redefine it. Do I agree that there's only two genders? Yes.
I agree because can I add a part? I've always grown up that we've had two good genders, and there has never been, and I never got the implication that transgender is another sex or something like that. I've always known is back then where guys, you know, let me rephrase that correctly, and my apologies. But when I say physically male, that becomes a female by two, whether is having a physical body change or it's a state of mind of that. But never in my mind everybody the way I was raised up with, we didn't talk about any other genders. There wasn't it but two. That's all I ever know back
Exactly
then.
what I'm
Did,
saying. It's like
did you just say Timbuktu?
he said that those big two, not Timbuktu.
Oh, my bad, my
I
bad.
was gonna
Sorry,
say
sorry.
we're doing this topic. We're not talking about
I
Egypt.
promise I am not drinking. I promise I'm not drinking. Okay, I'll be quiet.
Uh huh. Ah, Nicole, of you. So anyway, oh god, this went sideways completely. So going back to what I was saying, the only issue that I'm having is the fact that we're both going with. It started out with if you're like a transgender male, transgender female, using he/she or like she, her, he, that, him, and then all of a sudden it went from like that to they, we, non-binary, and to me, it's like, how are you a they? How are you non-binary? It's something that I do not understand.
There are so many pronouns that I can't even like. What is that? Don't they have like Z? Yeah. I don't even try. I don't even try. We're coming up with like new pronouns every. And see, this is what gets me. I'm gonna be honest. If there were such thing as, why are we creating new pronouns every day? Okay, like pronouns are pronouns. They are part of the English language. Okay, if this was something that has been going, like I know there have been transgenders throughout for years and years and years. Um, but like Rick's was kind of saying before, you didn't really know. You could be in the bathroom with a transgender, but you didn't know because they didn't go around and flaunt it. They actually looked transgender. Like that man who is now a transgender woman actually, you wouldn't be able to tell they're not a woman. Like, they actually go full force into the, I don't want to say character because that's the wrong word to use, but they go full force into what they believe they are. And you could stand there and you could not tell that they were not a woman. Do you know what I mean? And so you kind of interacted with transgenders all the time, gay people all the time, whatever. And you just didn't know because it wasn't something that was broadcasted on their forehead or screamed from the mountaintops. And so, but now it's like we're pretending like this is something new. And it's just like, I just want someone to explain to me how in the heck we go from two genders and proper pronouns. And then, like, in 5 years, we have like a quadruple amount of kids that are now transgender. We have like 5 different new sets of pronouns that we're supposed to remember, because if we don't remember and we call somebody by the wrong pronoun, we can go to jail. And it's just like, dude, if you want me to call you the proper pronoun, then you need to actually make this easier for me, because I'm telling you, it's too much. If I call you a he, that's what you look like, and you come to me and you're talking about stuff, no, actually my pronouns are they. No, I'm not going to remember that. I'm too old for that shit. That's all I'm saying. Too old for that shit. All right, my rant is over. Sorry, I'm too old for these pronouns. I barely passed English, okay? Drag queen? What do you think about drag queens? I don't know what that was.
Oh, that's coming from I think my phone. That must have been an Amber Alert.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know,
All
but
right.
I have
Sorry,
to
go.
check.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead, Dean. I was about to be like, okay, what's going on? We about to die? All right, go ahead. Back what you were saying. Like, my question would be, why do you have to dress up in skimpy outfits to read to children, regardless of what your sex is? Like, even if you were born a girl and you are a girl and you portray yourself as a girl, and you come into a library that you know you're going to be reading to young kids, and you got this skimpy little mini skirt on, and you're showing your tits, that ain't good either. Like, why, regardless of your gender or what gender you identify with, drag queens, whatever, why do adults feel the need to go to a children's event dressed like that? What are you trying to do? Like, what are your intentions? When you come in there looking like that, your intentions cannot be good. These are children. Okay? Children. Now, as far as drag queens themselves go, I have no problem with drag queens. It's not my thing. You won't see me in a drag queen show. But if you are an adult, you are doing your thing for an adult audience, do your thing, make your money, like, have your fun, enjoy yourself. Like, I am all for it. Like, I'm not going to tell you what you can and cannot do. You're an adult. The people watching you are adults. Do your thing. That's how I feel.
When you're
But
talking about
adults need to
people
stop getting
make
skimpy
money,
for kids.
where people make money, I think that's what they call cabaret. That they got quite some humor in them. Depends on what places you go that do well or not.
I mean, I'm just going to be realistic, okay? Being a drag queen in most of those situations, it's going to a drag show is not really that much different than going to a strip club. They are up there, they are adults, they are putting on a show for you. You are an adult watching the show, okay? You wouldn't take a child to a strip club to watch male, I mean, non-transgender adults get naked. I don't want to take them to a strip club or an event where they're going to see transgender people get naked. Like, it's just, it's not appropriate no matter what. Whether it's heterosexual getting and male and females getting naked or transgenders and like gays getting naked. It's all across the board. Adults need to stop getting naked and half naked for children. That is not entertainment.
I'm gonna make a reflection on. I read something somewhere about, and it's about where a physical male makes, takes the status of a female, joins a sports team, and they go in the
Yes, yes,
sports
yes. We're gonna talk
in the
about,
gym.
yeah. We're actually gonna talk about that a little later as well.
Well,
Um,
can I just add one more thing to this drag queen thing? Because I
okay.
do want to make sure that I get my point across and that I am very, because one of the things that irritates me a lot is when people who are against drag queen shows for children happen to be the same parents who sit their child in front of a TV and let their young child watch Nicki Minaj half naked shaking her ass and titties on a TV screen. If you are not okay with an adult man, woman who happens to be transgender, gay, whatever, pulling out his junk and shaking it in front of children, whether it be at a club, on TV, whatever, then you have to also not be okay with Nicki Minaj and Cardi B and all these other people pulling their tits out and putting their pussies in your kid's face too, because it's no different. It's no different. Adults in any capacity, any sexuality, any gender should not be subjecting that to kids. If you were going to subject Nicki Minaj to your kids, you might as well subject drag queens to your kids because it's no different.
The point that I was trying to make, where, uh, and I'm not trying to jump into the subject of that, but the point I want to make is that when in gym, where a physical guy takes on a status of a woman, and when they change their clothes and all that, a woman sees everything that that man's changed from, change their clothes to another clothes for their sports or their regular clothes. It makes a lot of women uncomfortable. That's the point I was going to make. It makes them uncomfortable because of the presence of a physical body male appearance. That's
Well,
all
yes,
I'm
but
trying
I
to
mean,
say.
and particularly that's going to be something I think Dean's going to bring up later. But particularly talking about children and adults being the ones that are doing this in front of children. That was my point. I don't care what gender you are. Females like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj should not be putting their private areas in the face of children. Parents should not be subjecting their kids to Nicki Minaj or Cardi B, and they should not be subjecting them to half naked drag queens in a strip club. You can't have it both ways. You can't say no, drag queens bad for kids, but oh yeah, let's take them to a Nicki Minaj show and let Nicki Minaj put her ass all in your 5-year-old kid's face. Like, no, it doesn't work either way. None of it should be okay. Adults should not be doing that in front of children, for children, for any reason. And adults should not think it's funny when children are watching shit like that. Period.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you want to do me a favor, I did post one of those videos that they're not even reading anymore to children anymore. Where what they're doing basically is like they're literally showing up to school and giving them a dance. Like I was seeing that video and I was like baffled and shocked by what the fuck I saw, and I was like, "There's no way in fucking hell that this is an actual thing."
Well,
So
That's that's the
if
thing.
you wanna bring up that video, Neat, would be great for everybody to watch.
which one is
Uh,
that?
I am not sure which one that one is, but I'm pretty sure it's one of those.
Might
You mean
be.
to tell me that
Is it this one? No. Oh, you don't mess me all up because that is not.
I want to
I don't
point out.
have a video like that.
I There was something Lanique showed me back more than
Pause.
a few months ago about
No, I
whether
don't.
it's a transgender or a drag queen at a church. That like what?
Yeah, Ricks, keep talking real quick while me and Dean figure something out.
And what's the matter?
Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick.
No, okay, so yeah, I going back, well, so what we were saying, I don't want nobody sticking their junk in my child's face. I don't care who you are. Don't stick your junk in my child's face. Even if my child, like, okay, my youngest is 7. He's a boy. Even him being a boy and, being attracted to women, at 7 years old, he does not need to see women shaking their ass and titties. It's just no. Like, that's not something that needs to be seen. It's not something that he needs to be subjected to. Um,
And I find it
so
unbelievable, and I find it unbelievable ridiculous. Just the fact that how you as a parent are okay with letting two females, as you mentioned, shake their titties and shake their booties, and it's like, for example, in this video, there's two videos that's back to back that we're gonna see. This is one of them.
our 3 years old children right T-shirts? Is this right education?
Oh hell no. That's not part of
You mean
my
that children
expression.
understand that?
What is it about a grown man costumed in a sparkly bra with augmented boobs busting out, a leather miniskirt barely covering his twerking ass with tuck tape on his front while spreading his fishnetted legs as he writhes on the ground? I just want to know what it is that makes a drag show family friendly. Because if you follow it to its logical conclusion, you can slap family friendly titles on anything. You can have family friendly gentlemen's clubs, family friendly strip shows, family friendly 50 Shades of Grey read alouds. Will you approve my flyer if I want to host an all the sex secrets of the Kama Sutra for kids and families? If it's
What are your
family
thoughts?
friendly? That's my question.
Like, have you seen like the ages of these kids?
Excuse me?
Like, do you
um
guys see like the ages of these kids? Like, these kids look
um
like they're 5, 6 years
Yeah, I've
old,
seen that.
and
at
You
like,
the
know,
beginning of the video, did he say that they were 3 years old?
yeah, they're 3 years old. 3 years old with these gentlemen or these drag queens showing their asses and
Oh,
I,
their junk.
can I say
what?
something?
I'm sorry. How the fuck are you okay with this?
Oh, not my child, not
Yeah,
my child. Mm-mm.
let me put out something. That right there, I don't care whether it's a child, but on the Georgia, Georgia law, federal law has where like pornography can, whether you're taking pictures or whether it's movie, they cannot be until they're 18 years old. Doesn't matter anything about under that age. But to me, I admit I have went to some bars that does something like that. And you're going to tell me they got bar scenes in front of children? Pardon my language. Goddamn fucking hell no. I'm not going to even have that around my kid. I'll pull them out of school if I ever had kids that like that.
And that's at a school?
And that's at a school. All of
Oh,
these are
hell
at a
no.
school.
Oh, hell no. Let me tell you. My child is in first grade. Okay, 3 years old. That's just, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to speak on that because I might get arrested for what I say. But my child is 7 and he is in first grade. If I were to find out that something like this happened in his school, and Dean and Riggs, y'all can vouch for me because I have been this batshit crazy all my life, and y'all know what I've done with my kids at schools. Okay, I would be up at that school dragging the principal out by her hair. Okay, we are gonna have a conversation. You're not gonna avoid me. You're gonna sit your ass right here, and we're gonna have a conversation. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why you are. I'm not even gonna say I don't want to get arrested, but yeah, no. And if parents are in this school with these kids, allowing this to happen with their kids sitting there, those parents should be ashamed of themselves too. It's not just the schools; it's the parents too. Because parents, I'm sorry, nope, not my child, not my child. I'd be in prison if that was my child. I'd be in prison. I'm just saying.
Or any social event, whether it's in libraries or school, no. The answer is no. How
No.
about getting the inputs of the parent? Would you like this? Would you like something like this happen in the classroom? I bet you 9 out of 10 times parents will say no.
Do you know what I just thought of? Because this is in a school, right?
Yeah.
And you see the way that those people are dressed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now hold on. Listen. Hold on. Let me finish right quick. Let me finish my thought real quick. So you mean to tell me these schools got some strict ass dress codes for their kids? Even in high school, my kids can't show even the midriff of their belly. But these people can come in here dressed like that. If my child walked into the school, a child that's part of the school walked in wearing something like that, they would automatically be sent home for dress code violation or suspended because they dared to walk into school like that. But yet we're letting grown adults come into the school like that and dance in front of our children. Can somebody answer that question for me? Like, why? Where does that make sense?
I tell you what got me the biggest. Seeing the guy upside down, black leather like clothing or something like that. I'm like, shit. Pardon my language. That's like you see people in strip bars or some kind of a strip shows or whatever. I'm like, you gonna tell me you're gonna put that around kids? No. You don't put adult entertainment around kids. You don't even take kids to bars either.
Oh my God. Hold on, I gotta calm myself down because Rick said something and I started laughing. I was gonna make a comment. I'm like, oh crap, nope, we're not in our own private chat. We are on podcast right now.
I'm sorry, Monique. I didn't mean to get you stirred up.
No, because okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I don't even care.
I mean,
because it's not bad. When he first started talking about, I've seen that guy standing up like that. I was like, Rick, do not get excited. No, it was not the time.
I mean, I've seen something like this before, but it's like, no, you can't do that around children.
No, you can't.
But anyway, and I agree with you, Lindy. We're on the same page. Something like that do not belong in children's environment. Even if high schooler, no.
Well, and even if they weren't drag queens, if you were to say women, naturally born women who still identified as women, and put them into a classroom like that to do an event and dance like that in that kind of clothing in front of children, I would still be just as outraged. There is no reason, regardless of sexuality, gender, whatever, that an adult has to be parading themselves sexually like that in front of children. It is sickening. And you want to know the most shitty part? If you were at home parading yourself like that in front of your child at your house, you'd be arrested. But they can bring strangers in to parade like that in front of your kids, and nothing happens.
I'm gonna tell you something. I read this in the news, in the news, and of course I hadn't been reading a newspaper for a while because the way our newspaper is that they don't deliver outside of the big city anymore. Anyway, there are some people that do things like, they start messing with themselves or showing themselves in front of kids, and they get arrested. And it's it's basically indecent exposure, indecent
But I find it
exposure.
quite,
And
I find it quite
that's just
ironic.
wrong.
But that's the thing. I find it ironic because if someone were to do that and do all of that, what you just mentioned, right, and they would get arrested for decent exposure, what do you and that is perfectly okay? Like, I'm sorry, make it make sense. Just make it make sense.
But see, that's the contrast right there. That video y'all just showed, and actually arresting an individual that's doing that. I see it that much different. That should not have been happening in front of a kid. And
And then
whoever
also,
prompted that in the classroom should be arrested too.
and can I just say for the record, this is not sex education. Okay, this is not sex education.
I
If this is
agree.
what they are calling sex education in the schools, they are stupid. This is not sex education.
That's a long shot from there.
That is
That's
not sex education.
that's entertainment that didn't need to be brought into school.
I wouldn't even
I
call it sex education for a 3-year-old. Three is extremely way too young to be learning. Here's a condom putting on a banana. That's not gonna happen.
No, we are not teaching 3-year-olds put condoms on bananas. We ain't no. No. You know what?
My apology.
I
I'm
have a
sorry.
degree.
I know
I
it's
have
not
a
funny.
degree in early child education. Do you want to know what sex education to a 2 and 3-year-old is? That's your private area. It's called a penis. That's your private area. It's called a vagina. It is yours for you only. That is what sex education is to a 2 and 3-year-old because they're at that age where they're just starting to discover that they have something down there. Okay? Or they have nipples, okay? They're discovering body areas. And that's when you sit down and you say, this is what it's called, and it's just for you. It is your personal private area. That's what sex education is at 2 and 3 years old. Not drag queens, okay? Just saying.
Yeah, and like the
See,
only reason why I wanted to bring this topic up, especially right now, because there was an article that I read. I believe the link is in there somewhere, where there was a gentleman. I can't remember from. I don't remember if he was from the United States or not, but he was basically put in a male prison. Listen to what I'm telling you, and I want all of you guys to also follow along as well. It's, he was placed in a male jail community, and then one day he woke up and was like, you know what? I don't want to be a man. Oh, and just for the record, and I'm also throwing this out there, he was in prison for raping a woman. Okay, he was placed in a
Yeah.
male jail cell, right? And then one day woke up and just told the guard, "Hey, I'm not a man. I'm now a transgender woman." And guess what? You want to know what happened? He raped two
And
women, all right, and impregnated two women in a female jail prison. I'm sorry, what?
mm-mm,
transgender
in New
transgender
Jersey, yeah.
uh, thing in prison just does not work well because you got a whole community of people of criminals that would do things unspeakable. I'm gonna leave it like that.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Like, if you want to post up that article, Nick, would be great. Cause there's a little. Because there's a little piece of that article that basically caught my attention.
What
Sure.
article? What section is it in, Dean?
It's under links.
Under what? I'm sorry.
Links.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, Nick has it up.
All right. Okay, let me see. All right, I'm gonna start from the bottom up. How far up do I need to go?
Give me 1 second.
I have it up on the screen.
Are you talking about the one called Virginia College, or
No, Nick has it on the screen. Here you go. Right, this part was where it got me, which is that she was accused, right? She basically saying that she has accused the state DOC, right, which is the Department of Correction, for those of you who don't know. And it says that in prison guards of not taking, and in quote, corrective actions about these sexually aggressive and, of course, harassing behaviors of the transgenders who have basically like the full functioning male autonomy, etc., etc. So I'm sorry. As far as I know, if you're gonna go to prison and you wake up one day, I feel like the first thing, if your name is Roberto, your new name would now. I feel like the correct punishment for that would be, all right, let's get your balls cut off, and your new name would now be Roberto. Yes or no?
Here's the thing: is I want to point out, in prison, if people are going to go that extreme, how come no parent jumps in front and interrupts a presentation they showed in children at that video earlier? Why didn't anybody jump out? I don't, my mind is blown on
And
that.
not only that, it also, if you scroll down a little bit, it says that in addition, the inmate, right, has been incarcerated since 2003.
Wow. Yeah. Says that transgender inmates are housed with others in areas where there are no security cameras, according to attorney Jane Bronco, who filed the suit. The alleged assaulter has since been moved to a male facility, according to the lawsuit. He should have never been put into a female one to begin with.
Exactly, and yet he just woke up one morning and said, "Hey, I'm now a transgender woman."
And I'll be honest, that is one of my biggest issues with what we are seeing in the trans movement today. Because, can we be completely honest? As I said before, transgenderism has been around for years and years and years and years. Okay, what are the big differences between what had been going on for years versus what we're seeing in the trans movement now? And one of the biggest ones is that you don't actually have to be trans. Okay, the way that they word these, you just have to identify. My son could literally go to school tomorrow and say, I identify as a woman. And in most schools across the country, he would be able to use the girls' bathroom. No questions asked. You cannot ask questions. You cannot verify this information. You have to embrace his feelings. You have to acknowledge that he is now feels this way and his feelings are important. So we need to let him go into the girls' bathroom. That is my biggest issue with this. The word identify. You just have to identify as whatever you claim to be. And we're not going to ask questions. We're just going to let you go. You don't have to wear the clothing. You don't have to have the sex change. You don't have to do none of that. As long as you identify verbally, you are good to go and do whatever the hell you want. That is the scary part of all of this.
and like
I'm
it's absolutely, and I find that absolutely ridiculous because like I could say I identify as a cat, but you're not gonna see me wearing a full blown one cat kitty outfit onesie and
Oh,
and
don't even
going
get me
meow
started on
meow
these
meow.
furries, man. Do not even get me started on these furries, man.
okay. I'm not trying to get somebody started up on that. There was I can't remember which one of you sent that video about where one of the senators or representatives jumped down on one of the persons who I think it was the board or about allowing this person who is wearing girls' clothes going into girls' bathroom and rape few girls, and it's already happened. And he or she or whatever that person is has been transferred to several different schools, and I'm like,
Oh,
what?
you're jumping
Holy
ahead. That's
cow!
actually one of the things we're going to talk about. We have a video and everything about that. And I can't wait till we talk about that.
Okay, I apologize that.
Oh,
So
no, you
we
good.
will
You good.
talk on that.
Mm.
Someone was kindly to mention which which I'm gonna read out loud if that's okay with him. According to the gentleman here, it said that there was measures taken with that situation. So he's saying that there was measures taken from the situation where if a man stated, right, that they are now a woman and to be transported into a female prison, the man would have to go into surgical treatment, and he put in quotes penis removal before they are transferred.
And that is good. That is a good measure and rule to now have because that is not one that was put in place at the beginning. And unfortunately, that's not a rule that, well, thank God it's not a rule because I don't believe in like mutilating children, but that's not what they're following in schools either. And it's just, it's sad. It's heartbreaking because it's one of those things where, yes, I care about the well being and, I care about all children. And I care about keeping children protected, regardless of their gender, regardless of their sexuality. They are children and they need to be protected and they don't need to be discriminated against, anything like that. But where do we draw the line? Where do we decide that, yes, we're going to protect you, but we can't protect you to the point where we're not protecting other children?
So
Because right now, what
basically,
we're seeing, huh?
what you're saying is that they need to set boundaries.
There needs to be a line that can't be crossed. Like if your child, if your son is transgender and he's really struggling with gender dysphoria, then I feel for him. I want to help him. I want to protect him. But in protecting him, we also need to be protecting the girls that were born girls and that still identify as girls. So, how can we protect your child, your son, who identifies as a girl, while still protecting biological girls? That's where the line needs to go because right now we seem to be catering to the transgenders, which, yes, we need to protect them, but we do not need to cater to them to the point where they are now being put in, we're putting biological girls and even biological boys, because there are some females to male transgenders in schools as well. We're not protecting those biological males and females, and they're being subjected to rape. They're being subjected to sexual assault, and they're being subjected to being forced to change in front of males. And so where do we draw that line? How do we keep the transgender community kids protected while still protecting the other children? Because all children need to be protected, and we're not protecting those other children right
So
That's the problem with.
which brings me up to this one good question. Is the fact that's been buried in everybody's head. Is the fact that you think that they're grooming them to the point where they're telling them, hey, cross this side or cross this line.
Do I think they're grooming them, like in a sense where it's like, um, we're going
That
to make you transgender? No. Do I think
there
that they are looking for signs and saying, "Ooh, that child, this, and this." Um, I think we can convince him, or we can like let's see what he thinks. Let's see what we can get out of him. And
Lanique,
they're using what the traits and the characteristics that the children already have, and they're building on from that. So they're not saying, hey, we're going to make you trans. What they're saying is, we're going to take everything that you already have, your characteristics, your traits, and we're going to kind of put our own, like try to put our agenda and our mindset into you. And then I actually have hold on, I actually have a video. Hold on. I'm going to pull up this video right quick.
What are you gonna say? What are you gonna add?
yeah, it's a word that there was a key word that Lanique used that she said a moment ago, and right now it slipped my mind. What was it, the word you said? And my mind
Which
was
one?
thinking, well, here's the thing is we're getting to a point where we are brainwashing, propagandizing young people. And that's something we're doing so much.
Oh yeah, I have a video pulled up that goes right into what you're saying.
Okay.
Do you mind if I show this video real quick, Dean?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
listen to this video. This is the director of education, by the way. So listen what she says.
The most critical time to be there is grades 5 through 8 because you want to catch kids when they're starting puberty, because that's the time in which identity formation is central to their lives. However, early intervention is key. So we actually are designing a kindergarten through grade 2 curriculum this summer. And I will tell you, one of the most rewarding experiences, Nikki, we were in a local school system in an elementary school, and we were in grades 3, 4, and 5. And after we were there, 5 students went to the principal's office and came out. So we are really intentionally going into younger and younger grades.
So
What
did you
the
hear what she?
Excuse me,
actual
can I
fuck?
say something like that? That woman can really, really could shut up.
They are intentionally going into these younger grades.
That is just
Oh,
every
the,
ounce of hell no.
the key word that you said, Lanique, what's happening is it what like sex education and all that and grooming. That's the key word. You hit that key word, grooming young
Well,
children. That's
I
exactly
don't like
what's
to
going
use
on.
I don't like to use the word grooming. In this sense, I'd rather use the word indoctrinating, because they're not
Okay.
grooming these kids, they're indoctrinating them. Okay. They are indoctrinating, and that's why, and you notice how she brought up identity, because this is when they really start to get their identity and get a grasp of what identity is. And so what they're doing is they're intentionally going for these younger children so that they can help these children form their identity. No, we're going to help you figure out what your identity is. And instead of actually letting these children form their own identity, we're going to put this in their head. We're going to put this in their head, and we're going to actually help form that identity for them. We're going to tell them who they are. We're going to tell them what they are. That's
Here,
why they're starting young, because they're
here's
trying to get a hold of their identity.
here's the thing is
It's like
like this.
the child is
I
5 years old. Like I remember when I was 5 years old. The only thing I care about was Hot Wheel cars and fucking GI Joe. I wasn't thinking of, oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and it's funny that you bring that up, because I know a lot of times, um, on these TikTok things where you see these teachers and they're like putting in these scenarios, and it's like, oh, well, during what we story time, we talked about what we did over the weekend, and Johnny was talking about how his 2 moms took him to the farm, and he got to see the ducks and the cows, and then little Amy sitting next to Johnny, quite like raised her hand and said, Johnny, why do you have 2 mommies? And then we had to go in and we had to talk about how Johnny had lesbian parents. No, that's not happening in classrooms. Take it from a preschool teacher, okay? That is not happening in classrooms. As soon as Amy hears Johnny say farm, cows, ducks, she don't even give a fuck about Johnny's 2 moms. She could care less if Johnny had 2 dads. She could care less if Johnny had a mom and a dad. She could care less if Johnny had a grandma and a grandpa. She wants to know more about them cows and them ducks, and like, these conversations are not happening in school. There is no reason to be pushing it in school because it's not happening in school. Okay, Amy does not care about nothing except for the fact that she wants to go to that farm now and see them cows. Okay.
Yeah, it's just insanity. Like, unbelievable.
It's just, and if you do happen to have a student that says, well, why does Johnny have 2 moms? Do you know what you do with that? You simply say, because families come in different shapes and sizes. And then right after you say that, you end with sizes. And then you say, okay, Jennifer, what was your weekend like? You do not continue to go on. It's that simple. Because families come in different shapes and sizes. Point blank, period. There is no need to take that one simple question and to go into an entire LGBTQ lesson for preschoolers. Okay, there's none. See, now y'all got me heated. I'm like getting all like jumping up. Like,
but yeah, like,
I want to back up a little bit when Nick says something about telling how these kids we help you identify you, something like that. And I like to point out, how the hell you gonna know what you're gonna be 10 years from now? That's like, for an example, I want to be a police officer. I'm 5 years old. I'm saying I want to be a police officer. And when you become 20 years old, you want to say you want to be somebody different. Oh, no. You don't
look,
tell these young people how they're going to be and confuse them. And then 20 years later, they're even more confused about themselves than they are to start with.
I'm always confused. I mean, I'm 36. I get confused all the time. I don't know what I want to be. I'm 36. I should already know what I want to be. I don't know what I want to be. Okay. Do you know what I want to be? I want to be I want to stay at home all day and just sleep. Okay. That's all I want to do, just sleep. I want to be a professional sleeper. Okay.
Shit, that I want to be a professional sleeper.
I do. I want to be a professional sleeper. Okay. Like, even as adults, how many times do adults change career paths? You graduate high school.
I'm guilty.
You go to
guilty
college,
of that.
You change career paths. I mean, I know adults who have like a billion gazillion degrees because they got their first degree in this and they did it for so many years, and they decided they wanted to go back to school and they wanted to do something different, and so they got another degree, and then they had a career in that. Adults can't even figure out what the hell they want to be, but children are supposed to be like, yeah, that's me. I'm that. That's me all the way. Like, no, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying any of
it. Get this. My mind is popping. You tell a 5-year-old boy, he's gay. He goes where he's 15 years old, and he is going to have sexual expression, and he's going to say he's been gay all his life, and then say, well, I'm attracted to woman or woman. It's like, now, how? And I bet you he gets confused once he starts to act out his natural, where he wants to be attracted to the opposite sex. It's like, I think we're confusing these young people more than they are ever. And I think it's really causing their brain to be fried up before they even get grown. If you get what I'm saying, Lanique.
Can I be completely honest with you?
Yeah.
Without sounding like a complete, like, this is gonna sound weird, but at 2 and 3 years old, 4, 5, 6, 7, kids are not thinking about who they're attracted to. They're not like, ooh, she's real sexy. Ooh, he's real sexy. No, that's not what kids don't. They don't know what attraction is.
I remember as a kid, we all done this. When we see adult
Speak for
kissing,
yourself, because
what
I am not
what's the
you.
biggest what's the biggest word we say? We say it all the time. We say ooh, ooh, yuck, and all that. We have been saying that as a kid. We're not interested in what the adults do. We yuck at them. And
They don't know what sexuality is.
They
They
don't
don't know
know.
attraction.
They can't read nor they can write, but that's a whole other mumbo jumbo.
And I mean, I'll even go as far as to say, even in high school, okay, you have relationships in high school. Those kids don't know what love is. You're 16 years old talking about, oh, I love him. And then a month later, you guys break up and you're with another young man and you're talking about, ooh, I love him. Y'all don't know what love is. Y'all don't know what relationship is. You guys don't know what it is. Like, why? 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 I'm, ugh. So that's my, I don't even know.
It's like, for example, it's like I understand, like if you want to be transgender male, transgender female, or whatever it is that you want to be, you do you.
you're cutting out, Dean. I'm sorry.
I know for some reason my computer is being stupid. But anyway, what I was trying to say was, if you want to be a transgender male or transgender female, hey, you do you. But do not tell the rest of the planet to bow down to your ass because you want to identify as a sexy cat or a sexy dog or a sexy pig. That is on you. Keep that shit to yourself or to your close friends or whatever it is, and just keep it to yourself.
That's the problem with some people. If they want to, people like that want to self idolize themselves. That doesn't work in a society. You're going to get shut down in a heartbeat.
Well, and I'll even be the one to say, like, look, I watch a lot of TV, I watch a lot of movies. I don't care what your sexuality is. I don't want to see sex scenes in TV shows, in movies that have nothing to do with sex and relationships. If I am watching a Marvel superhero movie, okay, I want to see ass kicking. I want to see bombs. I want to see action. And when I say action, I do not mean bedroom action, okay? I don't care who the superhero is sleeping with. I don't care what his sexual status is. I want to see him or her kicking some ass, okay?
Which kind of brings
That's
up,
all.
yeah, which kind of brings up the swimmer issues. But before we get into the
The
swimming,
what?
the swimmer
The
issues.
what?
Swimmer.
Swimmers?
Yes.
Swingers. Okay, swingers. Okay.
No, swimmer.
No.
So is this about
We just.
the dude from Penn State?
Oh boy, this man's gonna kill this damn chat and scare everybody away.
No, hold on. Before you move on, hold on. This one I gotta do this. I gotta do this now. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Dean,
I can't.
Emily, type the word what you were saying so I can understand which word because I didn't. I'm only thinking two words. You mind typing it so I can make sure it's correct for what
I
you're
did
saying?
type it. I typed it.
She typed it
Type it where?
in the chat, of
Under
course.
podcast general?
Yeah.
Swimmer. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the general.
But before we get
Okay.
into that, there is a video, well, at least two, which I'm gonna bring up in a little bit, in where the person that's right there is called Flame. I believe Nick, you have the video up. I think.
Oh, his name is what now?
Flame Moreau.
Oh, I thought we were gonna be talking about Leah's.
Well, we're getting into that because this is what I want to
Oh,
bring
okay.
in.
I was about to say. Okay, this is the one.
All right, so we're gonna watch this and we're gonna see what she has to say.
Hold on. I need to switch screens real quick. Well, switch windows, not screens. But all right, you ready?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Give me 2 seconds. Now, go ahead.
You mean to tell me that they had Leah Thomas, a man with male parts, going into a female locker room and changing in front of you guys while y'all were undressing biological females, and that's allowed to happen?
Exactly. Of course, we knew going into the meet we would be competing against each other, but we were not forewarned in any capacity that we would be sharing a locker room. And so it's not necessarily a place of modesty. You put these suits on that are like skin tight. It's a process to which, of course, you have to be undressed. I was in the locker room, obviously putting my suit on, and all of a sudden it got dead silent. I turn around. I mean, this person's towering over every other person in the locker room. Drops the clothes, full male, like a fully intact male with male genitalia, and almost subconsciously you just cover. I thought I was missing something. I thought, why is no one talking about this?
Okay. I'm going to say that. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. That's the one I was referring to. My point was it made a lot of girls in that locker room uncomfortable.
And there's also another video that I want you to put up as well.
Okay, which one?
The third
So
one
we're
that was
going to,
in. Hold on. It's a third one. It's a third link of the in the links tab that I put in there.
okay, the third one. Okay. Which one is that? The one that says Instagram or
No.
No, I
the New
got it.
York
Oh,
Post?
Nick got it.
Okay. All right.
All right. You want me to play it now?
Yes.
Trans women are women. What are your thoughts?
Trans women are trans women. That's not said disrespectfully because my era, we were transvestites, drag queens, you're a man in a dress. We fought to have the title of trans women. Respectfully, trans men are trans men. That is not even a disrespect. It's this younger, new generation, Z crazy, that it's not enough for. But let me just break something down to y'all real simple. If a woman is a social construct and we're emulating women, what would that make us? Social construction workers? To be truthful. And if biological women stop having sex, if biological women stop having babies, it won't be no more black, white, LGBT, fat, funny looking, and nothing else. I know y'all ain't gonna like the way I put it to you in the box, but when you find the lie, stop me. Because I have relationships with trans men that they identify as men, but they're biologically women. They think that, oh, Flame, you just pandering for the women. No, I know what a woman is. Woman is Mother Earth. We all came through the birth canal of a woman. All female impersonators, transgender, sex change, whatever. You did not learn how to be a female or act like a female watching somebody like you in a suit and tie.
That's a fact.
You learn from the woman that raised you, whether it be your mother, your auntie, your stepmother, whomever. But then when I get so comfortable in my gay or my transgender or whatever I decide to become, whatever's instilled in me, I'm better than you? No, I'm not better than you. You're still my sister.
Wow.
But I'm better than you now? That is the problem. We keep trying to dismiss women. You cannot dismiss a woman.
Right.
Life
Or
would
compete.
stop.
And what do you think about what she says?
Damn
I think
straight
there's
you
a lot
can't
of truth
dismiss
in that.
women. Don't dismiss me.
Well,
I'm a woman. Okay? You cannot dismiss me. Now I agree with what they said. So and I agree full-heartedly because you're I agree what he said, you trans men, trans women. You are not like woman. You put that trans in there because you're not a woman. Okay, and you can't dismiss the fact that biological women exist. And without a biological woman, you would not exist. Okay? It was not a trans woman who happens to have male genitalia that gave birth to you. because that's not how biology works. It was a biological woman, like they said, that gives you birth. So no, you cannot dismiss women. There are women and there are trans women. You want to be a trans woman? You want to be a trans man? Go for it. But do not dismiss women because women are essential and we ain't going nowhere. Y'all can try to get rid of me. I ain't going nowhere. I'm a woman. Dismiss me all you want. I'm going to still keep showing up. That's my thought.
And of course, like, what are your thoughts, Rich?
Well, here's my thought is, and this I might be off the board on scientifically, but I'm gonna say in my mind and scientifically, when your body, when you are in a fetus in a woman, there is a way your body that creates you, whether you're physically male or physically female. Your body develops based on whether it's estrogen or what's the other one I forgot? Uh, Testosterone. And when you grew up from the time that you're born, your body develops that based on that. What's the word? Based on that, the gene or Nick, help me. What's the word? Based on that, testosterone and estrogen. What's that word that
Estrogen?
people use? No, 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 no. There's a generic word for both. But anyway, my point is body chemistry. That's going to be, I'm getting a little close there. Your body chemistry
Rick,
develops you
hormones.
from,
Hormones.
yeah, that's the word I was talking about.
He
That's the
said
word I was
body chemistry.
hormone. Hormone is what develops you when you're in the fetus, before you're even born, and your body continues to develop. But when you change your body physically, you are altering your hormones when you get hormone treatment. And and I don't know what that does to the body when you convert your body to a different hormone. I I have to research on that. I'm guessing if the body has a conflict or not. But here's the point: is that your body grew up on those hormones. Are you going to tell me you're going to, for a guy who's physically male, once becomes a physical woman? Your body still has a man because your body is built to structure as a man. Your body has mind frame has been raised as a man. You know, you're thinking you're gonna have that all that. I feel like we're having Dr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde these days.
Well, I will say this. I will say this, Rick, in response to what you said. You were not born a man and a woman. You were born a male or a female. Okay. There is a difference between gender and sex. You cannot change your sex. Your sex is your sex for the rest of your life. You can cut off your junk. You can cut off your tits. It don't matter. Your sex is your sex the rest of your life. You can change your gender. I mean, yeah.
Pretty darn close to what I'm saying. Yeah, but go ahead.
But yeah, you can change your gender. You want to look dressed like a woman, dress like a woman. Guess what though? You still a male. You are still a male. You can cut your junk off. You still have male hormones and male DNA. That's simple. It's that simple. Okay, just that's simple.
You just hit the right word. DNA, male or female
Rick,
DNA.
that's also
is
why
you can't change that. You can't change
Rick,
your cellular structure. You can't.
But Rick, that's also why they are trying to put puberty blockers in children because they want to stop your son from gaining more testosterone. They want to stop your daughter from gaining more estrogen. That's why they're doing it.
I find we're going to find these people while they're in and let's say 20 years from now, they're going to be so mentally disturbed. I'm not saying insane, mentally disturbed. I'm going to leave it as that.
Y'all don't even want to know my theory behind all of this. Now, I do. I have a theory for why all of this is happening. But I know some people will think I'm crazy if I say my theory.
Share it if you don't mind, please.
What? I'll share
Share
at the end. I'll
it
share at
you
the
did.
end. I'll share at the end. It can be like my closing, because we still got some more stuff we gotta cover.
And also, there's also what's it called? An update on that thing, but not some. But since we're going to talk about the locker rooms and even like the Leah Thompson and all that stuff, not to mention, there's also another video which I believe I posted somewhere. Yes, the second link in the second tab. That's the video. But this video that we're gonna see is absolutely shocking and quite insane. Because basically, just to give you like a short version, it's like the senator. I can't remember from where, but you're gonna see as we go on.
I mentioned that earlier,
15-year-old
but go
daughter
ahead.
was raped. She was raped in a bathroom by a boy wearing girls' clothes, and the Loudoun County School Board covered it up because it would have interfered with their transgendered policy during Pride Month. And that man, Scott Smith, because he went to a school board and tried to defend his daughter's rights, was condemned internationally. Do you apologize to Scott Smith and his 15-year-old daughter, Judge?
Senator, anyone whose child was raped is the most horrific crime I can imagine, and is certainly entitled and protected by the First Amendment to protest to their school board about this.
But he was cited by the School Board Association as a domestic terrorist, which we now know that letter and those reports were the basis for your judgment.
Senator, that's wrong.
Judge, this is shameful. This testimony, your directive, your performance is shameful.
That's not.
Thank God you are not on the Supreme Court. You should resign in disgrace, Judge.
I go along with that guy. I'm going to say quickly, I go along with that, saying that you should resign. How can we have a judge like that? That's just,
And there's an update on that too. The same governor that you guys have just saw has pardoned the father, and now the father is pretty much suing them for what has went down, basically, and he has every single right to do so, and I agree.
okay. You were cutting out a little bit, Dean. You sound the father. Who was it suing? Is it because the so-called dressing in girls' clothes name got brought out? Is that the one that's getting sued? Is that the one bringing out the lawsuit, or what?
The
Dean?
father.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Nick.
So just to break it down for you, this actually is one of the cases that I have been actually following. Loudoun County is a shithole right now, and it has been for a while. I actually grew up right outside of Loudoun County, so it's kind of close to home for me. So pretty much, Rick, a boy in the school decided that he was going to identify as a girl. He was then granted access to the female bathroom. He raped a girl in the bathroom because it was Pride Month and they had just unrolled a new transgender policy in the school. The administration of the school decided to cover it up and not tell anybody. And instead, they just transferred this male student to a different school. Okay. And he went to this new
He
school.
still did the same thing.
And he raped yet another girl in the new school. In the same district, by the way. Same school district, but a different school. And the father of the first girl went to a school board meeting to get his, when he went to the school board meeting, he was not planning on speaking. He was just going to sit there and listen to what they were saying as a concerned parent, knowing what happened to his child, and to be there to protect not only his child, but other children. He was arrested from the school board meeting, put in jail, okay? And, he was labeled a terrorist, everything else. People all over the country were jumping on this father, okay? And the governor of Virginia did end up pardoning him. He is no longer in jail. But this hits home for me in a lot of ways. And this is just, the Loudoun County School District needs to hang their head in fucking shame. Because this is not just about being transgender. This is not just about being gay. This is a child who was raped. And because of the transgender movement and the policies that they created to further the transgender movement, they decided that what happened to this girl was not as important as saving their faith in the political agenda of transgenderism. They ignored the fact that this girl was raped to push an agenda and not hurt the agenda. That is wrong. That is despicable. And every single adult that thought this was okay inside of that school district needs to hang their head in shame.
And I agree with you on that. They need to because this is just.
But I want to back up. When I said something about hormones and thinking and all that, this tells you, even though the guy wants to identify as a female, whether he's realistically or pretending, he's still acted upon male hormone to rape a girl. That's manhood right there. Can you change that? No. That's the point I was making. You're still what your gender and hormones, what you were born with, what your body developed. You're still what you are. That just shows you right there. The guy is the guy.
It shows you that people are abusing the system. They're abusing the policy because of how vaguely written the policy is. All you have to do is identify. And you could do whatever the hell you want. All that boy had to do was go to the school board, go to the administration of the school and say, I identify as a female. And do you want to know the most shittiest part about this whole thing in Loudoun County?
Which is?
Go ahead.
The male did not even dress like a female.
Wait, so hold on. So you're telling me basically they identify as a female while still wearing regular, normal men clothing?
Yes. That is what I'm saying. We have to be able to protect our biological women, girls, and our biological boys. I'm going to include boys in there too. We need to be able to protect them. I don't care. And what makes it even worse is that in the midst of them trying to cover up the first rape, right? They decided that they were going to send him to another school in the district. And they sent him to this other school. And not only did they put other biological girls at risk, but another biological girl ended up getting raped by this same boy. This is what we are opening up our biological girls to in our schools. It's not about being transphobic. It's not about being anti-transgender. It's about how can you be transgender and make sure you feel comfortable while still letting my daughter feel comfortable, while still letting this Virginia father's daughter feel comfortable and not have to fear being raped in her own bathroom at school. I'm sorry, I'm getting loud now because this is something, it just really irritates me that it was just nothing for them to take what happened to this girl and try to put it under the rug and pretend like it never happened, to go so far as to have this rape victim's father arrested and treated like he was the problem. Like that is just despicable.
I mean, that's see. You remember we talked about going about parents' right, the rights to protect our children. That's exactly what he was doing. He was denied the right to being a parent to his daughter, and
And
that's
it's
just
despicable.
that's the ultimate destruction of society, as that's what's happening today.
But sadly, this is the reality. This is the reality. And rather than actually say, hey, we messed up. We're sorry that your daughter was raped because of our policy. We will go and we will look into our policy and try to figure out a policy that works for all children, all students in our school. Instead of doing that, they threw this dad under the bus, pretended that his daughter was never sexually assaulted or raped, and threw him in jail because their agenda and their transgender policy and the transgender movement and the LGBTQ movement, that was more important. It was Pride Month. We understand that your daughter was raped, and we sympathize with you, but right now it's not about her. It's about Pride Month, and we can't actually do anything to a transgender student on Pride Month. I'm sorry. That's just not. No, that is fucking despicable.
If that Loudon County did the right thing, expel him to school, let him be online school from here on out till he graduates. That should have been done from the start instead of putting him in other school. And yet he raped another one. I think he went to 3 different schools and did it 3 separate times.
Yeah, not only
Am
that.
I correct?
Well, I know he did it
How
twice.
can Loudon County School Board really can defend that? How can you fucking goddamn defend that? Pardon my language.
Because they're despicable, sickening human beings. And as a mother of girls, teenage girls, that it just infuriates me. Like, I just want to go to Loudoun County and just smack every single person who did this to that girl. Because I'm sorry, it's despicable. It is disgusting.
Oh.
You know what it is? It's evil. It is pure fucking evil.
You know, when you said you said something about like say, I'm sorry, we messed up. Sorry doesn't even go there. They went wrong from the beginning. Sorry the word sorry just cannot be in that vocabulary. In that statement. No. If you know what I'm getting at. That's beyond sorry.
It is beyond sorry, but I mean, it just, it infuriates me. It infuriates me. I'm just, it breaks my heart. It makes me want to cry that adults can do this to a child just for an agenda, for a political fucking agenda. It's just, I don't
And
get it.
here's the thing is, those girls that got raped as a teenager, they're going to have PSD for life. I'm not kidding you. PSD for life. Or PTSD, however we all know what it's post-traumatic stress disorder. They're going to have that for life and trauma and whatever else. They're going to be disturbed for many years.
Yeah, which
and
also
their life is ruined. Their life is ruined because what a boy did to her.
And what I was gonna say, I'm sorry. And the only reason why and now you understand why these swimmers in the Leah Thompson case are so against her competing against them. Like, biologically and using common sense, male are stronger than women. They are physically fit, and of course, like he was 500 and something with the males, and then all of a sudden he became number one in the female category. Like, no.
Can I make a hypothetical statement so somebody can ponder your thought? Mm-hmm. Let's say, for an example, I'm going to use the word wrestler. They're female wrestlers, and then a guy who wants a physical male, saying he's a female, goes and wants to compete in a women's wrestling. Who do you think is going to win? I want y'all to think about it. Who do you think is going to win? A true woman or a transgender female? Who do
Transgender
you think is
female,
going to win?
always. Transgender female, always.
See, that's the point in sports. It's not competitive anymore.
Because it's an unfair advantage that the males has over the female, which is absolutely ridiculous. If you want to compete in a female sport or a male sport, make it co-ed. Join a co-ed team, and then you'll be perfectly fine. I don't see why you wouldn't join a co-ed team whatsoever.
And there are plenty of sports that are co-ed. Like for an example, tennis. You can have a male and a woman, uh, kind of like a couples tennis. There's sports like
Exactly.
that. What's wrong with that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know, man. That just infuriates me that you can do that to a child and just pretend like what happened to her didn't matter because it wasn't important at the time because it was all about transgender policy and we have to push it under the rug and it's just I'm going to be completely honest with you. She is going to remember what happened to her for the rest of her life. But do you know what's gonna stick with her and affect her more than what that boy did to her?
The fact that nobody gave a damn.
Yeah, the fact that the only person that actually gave a fuck was her dad. The fact that the adults that she was supposed to trust, the adults that they were supposed to be there to protect her and help her and guide her, threw her under the bus and told her that she didn't matter when she needed them to be there for her the most. That's what's going to affect her for the rest of her life. That's what's going
I
to
agree
affect
with
her
you,
future.
Renee. I
That's what's going to
100%
affect
agree
her
with you.
future relationships. That's what's going to affect her future marriage. That's what's going to affect everything she does and every choice that she makes. Because yes, she's going to remember what that boy did to her. But she's gonna what's gonna affect her and change her life even more is what the people who were supposed to care about her did not do for her. That's what's going to affect her.
Which
And
brings,
it's sad.
and it's definitely sad, and it should definitely hang their heads in shame because that was unbelievable. It's wow.
There is an article I read. We're talking about school where there is a team. I don't remember what type of sports it was, but what it was a transgender female who competed in and won in competition and got up to the state level because they have a transgender female in that sports among other females. But do you realize that other schools backed out of it? They weren't going to even participate because it was not the sport was not the same. Uh, I don't know how to put the words correctly, which means they had an all female and they weren't going to compete against something they're going to lose when they have a transgender female going to overpower and help them win to the national. I mean, why play against something you can't win?
Which brings in the this point where I feel like Florida is doing a very good job with the Don't Say Gay bill.
I don't know why they
Well,
call it the Don't Say Gay bill. There ain't nothing in that bill that says Don't Say Gay.
Well, I'm using
write
the
that
And
term.
word down. I'm sorry.
Well, technically, I'm using the word "don't say gay" in quotation marks, just as a, which is what everybody's known for. Or at
Don't
least
Say
was.
Gay.
Here's two things DeSantis is
Hey, hold
doing.
on.
He
Hold on,
he's already passed a state law forbidding
hold on.
transgender. Go ahead.
Because what I want before you mention this, the only thing I want to say is this. I have a couple of questions for you guys. What is the, as I'm gonna put it lightly, quote unquote, Don't Say Gay bill.
I'm gonna let Rex answer first, so I can correct
Did you
him.
say gay bell or what? What's the word?
Oh, I think we're both typing it out. I'll let you type it.
Don't say gay bill.
Yeah,
What
what
the
is
hell
it?
is that? What the hell
Oh,
is that?
you don't even know what it is?
That's you know what? That's no different than what the military said. Don't ask, don't tell,
Oh
or
no,
something
Rex,
like
you're
that.
going on a
That's
rant
the
and you
same
don't even know what the
damn
bill.
thing.
No, Rex, don't even go on the rant. If you don't know what the bill is, don't try to pretend like you do because you don't. Like, don't even. No. There's nothing
I'm
like don't
telling
ask,
you
don't
what I
tell.
think it is, but go ahead and correct me.
I was waiting to correct you because I knew you were going to do something that was wrong. So I love you, Rex. So the
I
quote
said go ahead
unquote
and correct me.
the quote unquote don't say gay bill actually has nothing to do with not saying gay. Okay, it is a bill that was passed in Florida by Governor DeSantis, which dictates age appropriate education dealing with sex, gender, and sexuality in the public schools. What it says is that children in the grades kindergarten through third grade cannot be taught sexual gender classes at all. We're not going to talk about kindergarten through third grade, about sex, about transgenderism, about none of that. That's what it says. Then it says, hold on, let me finish. And then it says from 4th to 12th grade, we can talk about these things, but we're going to talk about them on an age appropriate level. Okay. So what it says is when they're in 4th grade, we can start introducing the topic of sex education. But let's make sure that the sex education we're teaching them is age appropriate for a 4th grader. Let's make sure that the sexual education is appropriate for the 9th graders. It's age appropriate sex education from 4th grade to 12th grade. Kindergarten to 3rd grade, we're not going to talk about it at all. That is what the Don't Say Gay bill says. There is nothing in there that says a teacher cannot say the word gay. Okay, I'm just saying.
And another thing is I want to add, it also in case what's that called the a theory? Is he's saying something about that you can't teach that in college, and he's not going to support it. It's some critical something theory.
Critical race theory.
He's against that too. Both of that went on the same bill.
I am against. This is different topics. I'm just going to say this once, then we're going to move on back to what we're talking about. I'm against critical race theory in general education. I am not against it being taught in college because it has been taught in college for years and years and years. Okay, but now back to the Don't Say Gay. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I was just making a statement of that, but go ahead.
They don't say gay bill. Will it affect the children? No. No, it's not going to. It's not going to affect them in a negative way. I honestly believe it's going to protect them. It's going to help them in a positive way. Because, can I be completely honest? The 6th grader who happens to be exploring his sexuality and might be questioning whether he's gay or not, the last thing that he wants to do is to come openly out to his entire class and be made a poster boy for your school district. And I think having a bill like this actually protects that child, because whether he is gay or not, he's not being made a poster child. He's not the lesson topic of the day. I think this is actually going to protect kids more than it's not going to hurt anybody. And the only people it's going to affect in a negative way are the teachers. The teachers that want to sit there and have conversations with your preschoolers about sex. That's the only person it's going to affect. The one that I'm on right now. Oh, I'm on the right one. Look at that. I don't know how to make this one bigger, so I'm just gonna like zoom in. Okay.
You to teach history, and that's what you need to be teaching. I'm
wait.
teaching my son to grow up to be a man. Yes. And I don't want you hanging on flags. I'm calling security. Hanging a flag up. I'm calling you to sit up there and teach them the type of stuff I'm trying to keep them away from.
Okay, I just wanted to show the beginning so I skip past the part where she tore the flag down.
That flag didn't belong to the classroom. It should never have been put up on the wall in the beginning with. And even though I'm bisexual, I do support the flag, but not in school. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I cannot just say I like this mama. I do. I like this mama. And this mama, she is what every mama needs to be. She is what every mama needs to be. We need to be going into them schools and telling them teachers, my tax dollars pay your salary, okay? And I'm paying you to teach history. Why are you covering up the U.S. map with a pride flag? Why? Are we talking about the pride movement? And because I mean that is part of history. That is part of history. They had a movement. They marched. Okay, we can talk about that. That's part of history. I'm not against talking about things that are part of history. And the LGBTQ movement was a part of history. So if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it in history class. But is that all you're talking about? Because you have a flag covering your United States map. Like, is this just LGBTQ history or just American history? Are we going to spend all year talking about the LGBTQ movement? Or are we going to talk about it in the same way we do the civil rights movement? Because if we're going to talk about the movement and the march, fine, do it. Then move on. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Then move on. It's a part of history, teach it, but move on when you're done. Don't spend all year teaching it. And don't go into sexual positions because that ain't got nothing to do with it.
You cut out, Dean. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Since you brought up the history, there's an article from the New York Post that states Miami School Board rejects LGBTQ plus History Month proposal after bitter 13-hour meeting.
Oh no, I'm coming. I'm singing for y'all, my bad. Oh, there's a video on there too.
I mean, if you want to play the video, you can play the video on the top, makes it easier for you.
I think we should just stick to teaching our kids, supporting everyone, anywhere, and all the children.
I do not believe that celebrations related to sexual preference belong in the classroom. I'm very, very concerned about this. You're not going to hear anything hateful coming out of my mouth because I serve a God, like has been said often here today, loves us all. But what is right is right and what is wrong is wrong.
I came here 364 days ago with the assumption that we all shared some principal values, that all students deserve to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel respected, that when we said we wanted to give our students the world, we meant all of them. But just shy of a year ago, I relearned how cruel people can be, and I felt like I was in middle school all over again, and I watched as the adults in the room said things that made grown men cry.
This meeting is being documented and recorded. So think about this. 5 years from now, in 10 years from now, when someone Googles your name, in 25 years from now, when your children or your grandchildren learn about the legacy you left as a member of this school board. Will you be on the right side of this issue?
We have to stop racial, political, and sexual indoctrination in school and simply respecting people for who they are, human beings.
For all children, yes. Board Member Colucci, I'm voting no. Board Member Blanco, no. Okay, so the majority is a no. Item did not pass.
And the only reason why I thought I wanted you guys to watch that video was because one of them, I can't remember who it said that the education was make the children suffer. How? Because the lesson.
Well, they are doing that. They're definitely doing that if they're going to be teaching sex education and teach these 5-year-olds about how people have sex. No. You really are twisting that child for years to come.
Yeah, and I find it extremely ironic considering that you're supposed to teach, and that's the subject that you're teaching. If you're a math teacher, you're teaching math. If you're teaching English, it's English.
Can I make a point of something? I know Lanique is a teacher, and she took education as a teacher and all that. We come from where we grew up, and I'm going to speak it in my term as how something, we are not open to what's going on today like that. And many of us, how do they go about from, let's say, for example, Loudon, how in the hell, if somebody like my age, which is I'm close to 60, to say it's okay to let that transgender boy in school, there's no way in hell I would allow that boy to be in school. I would have pushed to expel him permanently and let him be on online school until he graduates. And to me, how do these people that grew up completely, how do you put it, went backward or what? Help me out, Lanique or Dean, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Go ahead, Dean.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I honestly don't know what you're trying to say. So if you know what he was trying to say, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the same thing.
I'm gonna give you an example. First of all, I would not have allowed that transgender boy to.
I mean,
I wouldn't.
Let me stop you right there real quick, because I feel like if you're gonna expel the transgender students, male or female,
I would with what he done. The first rape, that should have been the first thing done. Expel him immediately.
Well, I mean, expelling them is a little too extreme. Because,
like, if you're gonna,
I don't think it's strict, because rape is a crime. Rape. Here's a few things about rape. One, first of all, it's about control over somebody's life. That's what rape is.
We're talking about the rape thing again.
Yeah. I'm just making a point.
Worry about expelling him. I'd put him in prison for the rest of his damn life. He don't need to be expelled because he ain't gonna be going to school no more anyway. He gonna be sitting in a prison cell. That's just me. Okay, sorry, Rick. Now I know what you're talking about. But yeah,
go ahead.
He needs to be. He should have been expelled. But
to me, I don't think what I'm saying is strict. First thing is, that. But go ahead. Let's go back to current of where we're at. I'm sorry, I'm backtracking.
Okay.
Okay, so I think what I want to know is, so they rejected it, but what exactly did they intend to do with an LGBTQ plus history? Like, what were they going to teach? What was like the entire plan or purpose of this. Because that's not really in the article too much. It doesn't really explain that. But like,
yeah, because I was reading it myself, and I'm like, what the hell does it? Because I never heard of an LGBTQ plus history ever.
And can I just say something real quick? Because there's something in this article that kind of triggered me. Now, I'm not Black or Hispanic, but can we stop pretending that the LGBTQ plus movement in history is in any way the same as Black history? Like, please, please. It says right here, proponents argued that LGBTQ plus history should be recognized alongside that of other minority groups, such as Black History Month and Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm not going to speak so much on Hispanic Heritage Month, but I'm sorry. I know the LGBTQ history and the battles that they had to fight to get, the same rights as for marriage and stuff like that was important. I don't negate that at all. Their fight was important. They fought it, and I give them props for that. But can we please stop pretending like being gay is the same as being a fucking slave? Like, I'm just so tired of them putting them together. Like, I'm not even Black. And it's just like, there's nothing that is the same there. Okay?
That's what I was
Nothing.
gonna say. Like, I'm not Black either, and it's like, in putting the LGBTQ plus history and Black history, and I can speak for the Hispanic history as well.
I mean, unless you can sit there and name me a time when you had to show a card because, skin color, if you were Black, you couldn't even sit in the front of the bus. You couldn't sit in this side of the restaurant. You couldn't even go into this restaurant. You couldn't use this. Can you tell me one time in history when somebody who was gay was denied the right to sit wherever the hell they wanted to on a bus, where they were denied to go into any fucking restaurant they wanted to go into, where they were denied the right to go to any school they wanted to go to? Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's just, I hate when they try to compare. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Lanique, what I was talking about is called, I'm going to use the word, I'm trying to say it the best. Let's say people who runs in the government, these people are not like 20 years old running the government. These are people who are 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 and 70 years old. And how did they go from what used to be no open door policy for transgender, and they completely turned about face to open door policy for transgender to let them to do whatever they want? I mean, how did I don't know how to say it, but how did they come to a completely turnaround? And when you're already been raised, no, you can't. There is not an open door policy like that.
I mean, can I be completely honest with you too? Here, as now that I'm like reading that part again, there's nothing in LGBTQ plus history, as you mentioned, Nick. There's nothing in it that says, "Oh yeah, we're gonna separate these guys with the straights and the gays and the lesbian and this and that." But yet, the only thing that the LGBT, somebody could correct me if we're being honest with each other. The only thing that they have done was fight for the right to marriage. That was basically it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, though.
I mean, okay, so there was more that they fought for, or rights that they fought for. Marriage was one of them, one of the big ones. But and I won't pretend like gays haven't been murdered for simply being gay, because they have, and that's appalling, and it's sickening, and it's disturbing because nobody should be killed for their sexuality. Like, I don't care what your beliefs are, you should not kill somebody because of their sexuality. And I do think they wanted to be able to be a part of the community as a whole without having to hide who they were. So they wanted to be able to come out to the community and say, my name is Jim. And then if somebody asks, like, yeah, I'm gay. They wanted to be able to say I'm gay without being discriminated against, without being killed, without, that's what they wanted. And that's ultimately what they fought for. Marriage was just part of it. Because one of the reasons that they weren't able to marry was because there were laws that, you couldn't be gay. They were told you had to hide your gayness. Don't tell nobody you're gay. That's where the term in the closet comes from, because you could be gay, but you couldn't broadcast it to the entire world. Okay. They wanted to be able to let people know they were gay. And so they did fight for more than just marriage. They wanted to be able to openly be who they are and not hide who they were. And I'm all for that. Do not hide who you are. If that's who you are, you should not have to be in a closet and keep everything about your life. Like, that's like living a double life, and you shouldn't have to do that. Okay. At the same time, be open with your community. Be open with your people. Like, if you're on Twitter and you want to tell people you're gay, go for it. Like, if you're in a conversation and sexuality comes up and you want to say, like, hey, I think I can help with this because I'm a gay man or I'm a lesbian woman. Go for it. Like, you have that right. Okay. You don't have to stay in the closet and hide your sexuality anymore. But at the same time, you don't have to be so openly gay and so openly this that you are parading around children, or that you are teaching how to be gay to children. Okay. First of all, being gay is not something you can teach. And this is one of the things that really irritates me with this whole movement. I'm just going to go to this part real quick. On one hand, they say that you're born gay, right? They advocate that you were born this way. This is how I was born. It's not just something I decided. It's not a choice. I was born this way, right? Yet at the same time, we have schools that want to teach these kids how to be gay. But here's the thing. If you were born that way, why do I need to teach you how to be that way?
And that's true.
You can't have both arguments. They were either born that way, or you have to teach them how to be that way. And if you have to teach them how to be that way, that means they were not born that way. So which one is it? Are they born that way, or do you have to teach them how to be that way?
Somebody was kind of nice in the chat, was nice enough to say, nah, that's just a Lady Gaga song.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's just, regardless of how you feel about homosexuality, that's why I said, like, I personally don't believe that in homosexuality. I'm a Christian, but I would never advocate to discriminate or take rights away or murder or anything to gay people. I love people. Like, as a Christian, I am instructed to love people. Okay? That's what I love people. My first question when I meet people is not, what's your sexuality? Because I could care less what your sexuality is. Okay? That's between you, your partner, and God. Okay? That has nothing to do with me. All right? And the reason I say that is because you wouldn't, you can't, if you have to be, no, hold on real quick. You cannot be born one way and then have to be taught how to be that way. If you are born, if you're gay, you're gay. If you're attracted to, if you're born attracted to male, as a male, why do I have to teach you how to be attracted to male? Why do I have to teach you how to have gay sex while you're in elementary school?
That's what
Isn't that something you will learn along the way?
Brainwashing propaganda. That's what I meant by that.
I mean, do you know they're actually teaching elementary school students how to suck dick? I am not lying. They are teaching this stuff. We are going to teach you how to be this way. And it goes beyond just teaching them how to be gay, okay? I'm going to say this, and this might come off wrong, but they're teaching our young girls how to be sluts, okay? They are potentially bringing up a generation of sluts because this is how you suck your man's dick. This is how you have sex. They're going into positions, sexual positions. It's not just, this is what sex is and sex happens between two people. No, they're actually teaching them and showing them different sexual positions, telling them which positions feel better for the female, which positions. And these are elementary school kids and middle school kids. Oh, well, you're going to get more pleasure and have an orgasm quicker with this position. Like, what?
Wait, did you just say you're saying that they're teaching kids as young as 3 years old all of this stuff?
They are teaching our children in elementary school.
Can I pause you there? If they teach these young kids, do you think those girls going to think that it's okay to be molested when they learn that, and they're going to say, "Well, that's what girls are"?
Well, and that's
going to brainwash that girl.
Well, and that's what I've been saying the whole time. Like, my thing, where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? If teaching them sexual positions and what feels good, might feel better for a female, what sexual position might feel better, that's not sex education. That is not sex education. But you just passed a very, very, very big line from sex education to pornography. Okay? And I'm sorry, you do not cross that line.
Here's one thing
that is not sex education.
Here's one thing that we're having the issue that we learned. We are starting to learn, we're starting to say when somebody say no, no means no, not the opposite. If you don't allow, let's say, the girl to say no, how is she going to say no in the future?
Exactly. It's like I remember growing up. It's like you learn basically no, it's no. This is my no square. So that's basically what I learned.
Yeah, we're teaching them this is your no spot. Nobody can touch it. Stranger danger. You know, like these are your areas that only you should touch and only you should see. But let's take you to an assembly where an adult is showing those same private areas that only, that you should not let other people see. Let's go. They're going to put them in your face. We're contradicting everything. And what happened to, we're taking away self-respect is what we're doing because.
Yeah, now that you mention it, somebody in the chat just said, we used to be tough to respect a girl's passage to womanhood, right? Like in sex ed nowadays, it's like better get that body count up.
And sadly, that is 100% true. You cannot go into a middle school or a high school sex education class in America today without seeing condoms being passed out. They are literally passing out condoms to middle schoolers in sex education. Okay, I get it that children are going to have sex. Okay, teens are going to have sex. It's going to happen. And when they have sex, you want them to know there are options. You want them to know that there are things like condoms and birth control and stuff like that, right? What you do not want to do is hand them the birth control. You do not want to hand them the condom because what you're doing by handing them the condom, what you're doing by handing them the birth control is you are telling them, now go out and do it all you want. Go out, experience what we just taught you. No. The point of sex education was not to encourage them. Look, when sex education first became a thing, it was not a thing to encourage them to go have all the sex they want. It
As a
was a
matter of
thing
fact,
to
it was a thing to prevent them from doing it.
exactly. Like, do you remember? I remember when I was in middle school when we had sex education in health class and stuff like that. They used to show us pictures of what STDs looked like on your genital. Like, they used to scare the hell out of us so that we would not want to have sex. I'm not even lying. Like, they would put up what a herpes outbreak looks like on a genital. Like, come on. They don't even do that no more. They ain't even. They're not talking about STDs.
I went to a college school orientation, and they show that as very engrossing thing. College orientation, day one orientation. They show that very, very grossing. I mean,
they need
you
to be
shouldn't
showing
be showing
that.
that to someone younger.
Oh, no. They need to be showing that in middle school. Let me show you what an STD looks like. This is why you should not be having unprotected sex. This is you know what the schools need to be telling kids? Look, if you really have to have sex, there's birth control, there's condoms. But the best way to protect yourself from pregnancy, the best way to protect yourself from diseases like STDs is to not have sex until you are ready, until you meet the man or the woman or whatever that you are going to be in a long-term relationship with. This is what we need to be telling children, because what we're also doing is we're teaching young girls, I'm going to use the girls for this one. We are teaching young girls how not to respect themselves. We are teaching them that how not to respect their body. And it's not just schools, it's society in general. It doesn't matter how young your child is. You turn on the TV and you're watching even the Disney Channel or Nickelodeon now, okay? And the things that these shows are talking about and introducing to our children, we are teaching our young girls that the only way to be pretty is to pancake your face with makeup. That the only way to be pretty is to show cleavage. That the only way to be pretty is to wear your hair this way. The only way to keep a man is to have sex with him. The only way to do this is what we're teaching our girls.
But now that you mentioned that, what would you call Victoria's Secret then? Because Victoria's Secret has been around way before this whole entire issue even begin with.
Victoria's Secret was made for adult women. Adult women who wanted to dress up for their men. It's their look. I have teenage girls. If one of my teenage girls were to come to me and be like, "Mom, can you take me to Victoria's Secret to get a bra and panty set?" Do you want to know what I would say?
No.
Who the fuck you trying to show your bra and panties to? That's what I would say. Who the fuck are you trying to show your bra and panties to? That you need to go to Victoria's Secret and spend $50 on a bra and $50 on a pair of panties. Who's gonna see them? Because that's exactly what Victoria's Secret was created for grown women who wanted to wear sexy clothing and lingerie for their partners. It was not created for young girls.
And of course,
but now if you go even into Walmart, they have bikini bathing suits for infants.
Wow, that's just over the top.
Like, what are we doing? Where did we go from respect yourself? And here's the thing. Teaching young girls not to go around and have sex with every boy they see or every boy that they think they love was not about holding them back. It was not about telling them what to do with their body. It was about teaching them respect. Respect for themselves and respect for their body. And even I have a son who is 18 years old. Do you want to know what I tell him all the time? Mind you, this is a boy. And I tell him all the time, before you start having sex, you need to know who you're about to have sex with. Ask yourself 3 questions. Can I see myself having a baby with this girl? Can I see myself being with this girl for the rest of my life? And are you ready for the last one? Do I know this girl's name? Okay, that's the 3 questions. Do I know this girl's name? Can I see myself having a baby with her? And do I see her being a part of my life for the rest of my life? Those are 3 questions I tell my son every time. Ask yourself before you sleep with somebody. Because here's the thing. If you don't know her name, you shouldn't be sleeping with her to begin with. If you don't know his name, you shouldn't be sleeping with him to begin with. Okay? You should have more respect for yourself than that. 2, whether you're on birth control, whether you were on a condom, whatever, there's still a chance you can get pregnant or you can get that girl pregnant. Can you see yourself having this man's baby? Can you see yourself being the father of this woman's child? And if you become this woman's baby daddy, baby mama, can you see yourself being in a long-term relationship with them? Can you see yourself being a part of your life for the rest of your life? Is this somebody that you want to be associated with for the rest of your life? Because if not, if you don't see yourself having her baby or his baby, if you don't see yourself wanting to have some kind of association with this person for the rest of your life, don't sleep with her. Don't sleep with them. It's that simple.
And I
We
agree.
need to teach them to respect themselves enough to know who they're having sex with, to know who they're getting in bed with, because STDs are actually on a rise in in our younger generation, and it's sad. It's sad. Because what we're teaching them is go out and have all the sex you want because you can just do this, or you can just, there's ways to get, to any consequences you might have, there's ways to hide them, there's ways to get rid of them. That's not how it should be. It's just sad.
And I'm also throwing this comment from the same gentleman who he basically said that they can't show those pictures, like the picture of the STDs and stuff like that, anymore because the new generation of kids, right, get offended by basically the smallest little thing now.
He's not lying. He is not lying. And here's what's even sadder though. You sit that generation of kids into a sex ed house class, right? And the teacher will show a picture of what gonorrhea looks like. And that child will go home to his mom and dad and say, well, today in house class, they showed us what gonorrhea looks like. That parent would be on the phone with the principal trying to get that health director fired because she dared show them what an STD looked like.
Yeah,
like, dude.
Yeah, so it's basically like teacher. So basically, it's like teacher equals no more job, pretty much.
Parents are teaching their children how to be offended, and I say that as a parent. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not your typical parent. My children tell me all the time, "Oh, I'm offended." I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, the amount of time I get told I'm offended, I'll be like, "Well, good for you."
I'm sorry, you. What did I say that offended you so much? Did I hurt your feelings? Because I'm sorry, I don't care. You're offended, so now you think the entire world has to stop and bow down to you? I'm sorry, no. That's not reality. That's not how the world works. The thing is, you can be offended by something. Can you being offended by something shut down the entire world? No. If you're offended by it, then, put your big girl panties or your big boy panties on and grow the fuck up. Okay, walk away. Scroll past it. Don't watch it. I don't get it. And kids, I'm gonna be honest with you. Kids don't even know what it means to be offended.
They don't.
They don't know what it means to be offended.
They throw that word around like it's some sort of pancake.
Because they hear it from their parents. They hear it from their parents. Their parents, like I said, that kid goes home and tells his mom and dad, "Oh, yeah, this is what we learned in health class." The kid could care less. I'm gonna tell you, the kid was probably in health class, right, laughing at the pictures because he doesn't realize how serious the pictures he's looking at actually are. Okay, he doesn't realize how serious gonorrhea is. He's just laughing at it because whatever. I'm not gonna get gonorrhea. Yeah. Then he goes home and his parents ask, "How was your day? What did you learn about?" "Well, we saw pictures of what gonorrhea looks like in house class." And the mom gets outraged, the dad gets outraged, and all of a sudden now the child is outraged because he has just been informed by his parents like he needs to be offended because those kind of pictures are inappropriate to be showing him, and he should be offended, and now that child's offended. That's how it's parenting. It's parenting. And that will never be my child, because my child comes home and tells me that they learned about gonorrhea. My response to them would be, good, now you won't be having sex.
Like I said earlier, I would take my kid, if I ever had kids, out of that school and put them in something that would be more appropriate and more on the right path, if you know what I'm trying to say.
But see, here's the thing. What would be more appropriate and what would be the right path? Because right now in America, our options as parents are very limited. Very limited.
I hate to say, as Americans, we have gone from what we were being so twisted and crybabies. I hate to admit that, but we are that.
Oh yeah, this entire generation is nothing but whiny ass crybabies.
But not only that,
you hurt my feelings. I need my safe corner.
But not only that, I'm also like I said, the same gentleman that's just been watching this said, sadly, those are the kids that have 6 years apart from their parents' age. So the mentality is more of a friend than a parent, especially growing up in a world of social media.
He hit the nail on the head. He really did. Like I agree with him 100%. That is what is wrong with 90% of our parents of this generation right now. They want to be their kids' friends and not an actual parent. They don't want to parent their children. They want to go to the mall with their kids. They want to post on TikTok with their kids. They want to be their kids' best friend. And let me tell you, I love my kids. I love hanging out with my 4 kids. I do. I love my kids. I am not my kids' friend. I am their mother. Their father is their father, not their best friend. My job is not to sit around and tell jokes with you and laugh. And yeah, we do those things. But I don't do those things as your friend. I still do those things as your mother. There are boundaries, okay? And no, I'm going to tell you when what you're doing is stupid. I'm going to tell you when what you're doing is wrong. I'm going to tell you when you come to me and say, well, I'm offended by this. I don't give a shit. Be offended. That doesn't affect me in any way. You want to talk about why you're offended? We can talk about why you're offended. But if you're going to sit here and whine and cry and all you're going to say is, I'm offended, and then we're not going to talk. If you want to talk about why you feel like you're offended, we will. But we're going to have an actual conversation. You're not going to just sit there and spew stupidity at me because I'm not doing it. I'm not my kid's friend. I'm their mother. And I will always be their mother. And my job is to raise up children who can think independently and be adults that make good decisions. And my job is to raise my kids. That's what my job is, to raise my kids to be functioning adults when they become adults. I'm not their best friend. You will never see me out drinking with my kids. You will not. No. Like, even when my kids are adults, if we go to a restaurant and we each happen to get an alcoholic drink, or we go to Applebee's and we each get a martini or something, that's different. You will never, even when my kids are old enough to go to a bar, see me sitting at a bar stool with my children. I am not my children's best friend. I am not going to sit in a bar with you and get drunk with you. I am not going to sit on the couch and get high with you. I am not going to, no, we are not best friends. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about things that you should be talking to your friends about. There are boundaries. Boundaries. I don't want to hear you talk about, oh, I smashed that. Oh, pass, hit. Like, no, I'm your mother. Okay, we are not doing that whole smash and hit. Like, no. Boundaries.
When you were speaking of that, I was looking at, there was a video, and I don't know if you've seen it or not. There was a video about, it was kind of like adult entertainment. It was like a pride thing at LGBT, and they have somebody who was like maybe 8 to 12 years old in the adult environment, and oh my, how wrong that is to bring someone that young in that environment. I mean,
That's just stupidity. That's just bad parenting.
that and
teachers are no better
so
either.
many things wrong in that scene right there.
And you know,
You
I'll
don't
even
bring
go as
someone
far
that
as to
young into
say,
that environment.
I'll even go as far as to say, a father who takes his young son to Hooters is just as bad. Why are you taking your son to eat at a place where girls have their ass and their titties hanging out? Your son's only 9 years old. Like, what are you doing? Your son does not need to be at a Hooters. Take your son somewhere else. Take him to Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, take him to a pizza joint. Take him anywhere. Do not take your son to Hooters. You are
I've
not
been to
teaching him how to be a man by taking him to Hooters. You are teaching him how to be a douchebag, and he's only 9 years old. Leave him alone.
I've been to Hooters a couple of times, and that is not a place for young people.
It's not, but it's advertised. I'm going to be honest with you. It is a family restaurant. I have seen full blown families. I've never been inside a Hooter. I've never been inside Hooters, but I've seen full blown families.
I'm gonna tell you what Hooter is. It's basically a bar and a restaurant and
I know
whatever.
what Hooters is.
That's exactly what it is, and that's not a place for a kid.
I know exactly what Hooters is. It's. I've never been to one, but I've seen full blown families walk in there to have dinner, and it's like, you know, I know what their waitresses look like. I know what the whole objective of Hooters is. Why are you taking your son in there? Why are you taking your daughter in there? Like, why? It's not a place for your children to be. Go to Chuck E. Cheese. Go to Applebee's. Go to Chili's. But, I mean, being a bar, having a bar inside of it does not make it wrong for kids. Applebee's has a bar. Chili's has a bar. Okay? You have to be 21 or older to sit at the bar. So nobody's walking in there to Chili's and Applebee's and putting their kid on the bar stool by the
21
bar.
and older to order, whether you're at the bar or not.
But, well, no, I don't think so, because my family loves Applebee's. We should be able to go to Applebee's whenever the hell we want. Just if you're not 21, don't go sit at the bar and don't order an alcoholic drink, okay? But, so having a bar inside of a restaurant does not make it inappropriate for children. The children are not sitting at the bar, they're sitting in the restaurant, okay? What makes Hooters inappropriate is the way that the girls, the waitresses, are dressed. That is a particular kind of restaurant that is supposed to attract males. Okay? Your 9-year-old son does not need to be in it.
Hooter is nothing more than the term of exploitation. That's exactly what it is. And that's something the young kids don't need to learn, exploitation.
I mean, I've never been inside of a Hooters. I have no idea what the hell Hooter is. But the only thing I've seen is just from videos. So the only thing I'm gonna say on this topic of Hooters is this: if I want to see
I've been there a couple of times.
Hold on. If I want to see, hold on. If I want to see prostitutes in a restaurant, I might as well just walk directly around my corner. I could just see them for free. I don't need to pay them.
Oh my God, you do live in New York City and you can see prostitutes just walking out your front door, but Hooters women are not prostitutes, Dean.
Well, I'm just saying.
Said if I wanted to see prostitutes. Oh, I saw an article about New York and prostitutes earlier, but anyways, that's not even what we're talking about right now. So, all right, we're gonna move on from Hooters. Let's go somewhere else. What's the next topic? What we got?
Alright, so anything else you want to add? Because I know you wanted to show off a video that you earlier.
I already showed my video, remember?
Of the teacher?
What?
Well, there's the first link that you posted, so I'm not sure what that was about.
I'm not gonna show that one no more. I showed the one I wanted to show earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now that we're gonna wrapping it up.
Ooh, we're gonna be wrapping it up.
So, final thoughts?
Um, go ahead, Rick. See your final thought.
I'm just thinking, is speaking of the United States, where is my country is coming to? I'm just looking at where are we heading? Where are we coming to? And it's just like United States is is a joke to the world. All I could say.
Anything else you want to add, Nick?
Oh yeah, give me 1 second.
All I could just say is that we need to stop teaching a complete open book about adult stuff to kids. I mean, no, that just crossing the line too far.
Okay, so here's my theory. Parents need to start being parents. You parents, I'm gonna put this as nicely as possible. Parents need to grow the fuck up. Parents need to grow up. Okay. Um, and we need to understand that whether it's a drag queen, a male dressed up like a female, whether it's a Nicki Minaj or a Cardi B, whoever it might be, if they are on your TV screen, you are at their concert, you are whatever, your child does not need to be subjected to that. Okay? No, it doesn't matter. Sexuality and sexual entertainment like that is not for children. And um, it children should not be shown it, subjected to it, whatever. I honestly believe what we're seeing in the schools is bad. And teachers and administration at school should be blamed. But I think the blame needs to start with the parent. We cannot pretend like the parents are just sitting there being victimized and like no. The parents are encouraging the school boards. The parents are they're in the front lines. The parents of these children who are being subjected to this crap are in the front lines. Even that video that you showed, Dean, with the 3-year-old sitting there with that, like, the parents were in the room with those 3-year-olds. The parents are on the front lines. These drag queens, they're not just showing up out of nowhere, spontaneously dancing in front of children. Parents are taking their children to these pride parades. Parents are taking their children to these strip clubs and these drag shows. Okay? It's not being forced upon the kids by the drag queen. It's being forced upon the kids by their parents. The parents are the ones taking them to these things. Okay? Um I think realistically it has to start with parents. We have to have our parents grow the fuck up. We have to have our parents put their priorities straight and understand that your child comes before politics. I don't care what political party you belong to. Your child comes before politics. You don't get brownie points for forcing your child to be transgender. You don't get brownie points for indoctrinating your child to be gay. You don't get brownie points for that. Like, no, be a parent to your child. Okay? Stop pretending that your 3-year-old child can dictate what sex they are because they can't. Be the adult in the relationship because that's what you are. You are the adult, they are the child. Let them be children, you be the adult. That's all I gotta say. Parents need to grow the fuck up.
I also like to say, you know, my mind went through these, and people who are, let's say the Loudon school board that we were talking about, there are parents too. How did they actually allow this? I don't get it. And it's like you said, those people in the school board don't even have the guts. Hello? Have I
We're
lost the
here.
voice?
No, we're here.
I mean, it's just, I mean, their parents, it's just like you said, they need to grow up. I'm like their parents too. How are they, how are they accepting this when their parents as well? I know they
Because
wouldn't
they're
want
getting
their child be subjected to that, but yeah,
because
but
they're getting brownie.
they allow an open door policy for this trans a boy who wants to say I'm a girl, open door policy, and you know as a parent you do not want, especially a daughter, you don't want something to happen like that to a daughter. How does that school board goes on with it? I'm like your parents, you know you don't want your child like that be going through a horrible thing like that. How do they? Oh,
Because it didn't happen to their child. That's why. It didn't happen to their child, so they don't care. But if it did happen to their child, they would talk a lot differently. Transgenders would still be walking through the school, but it would hit a little bit differently. But I can almost guarantee you some of the people sitting on that school board would throw their own child under the bus too. Because, and here's why I say this, they would throw their own daughter under the bus too and tell their own daughter, don't talk about it, don't talk about it. If you talk about it, dad's going to lose his job, or dad's going to lose this, or mommy's going to do that. Because it's their children come second to their political agenda. These school boards are getting paid to do this propaganda shit.
getting paid by who?
Do you remember when? Okay, so do you remember the first year back from COVID when the schools across America had free lunches? Like every school in America had free lunch. Do y'all remember that?
Okay, go ahead.
Um. So for 1 year, every single school in America had free lunch right after COVID, and part of that was because families, like, jobs were reopening, schools were reopening, parents were getting back on their feet, financially and stuff like that. So we're gonna give your child free lunch because school lunch is overly, it costs too much to be. I don't understand paying $3 for that shitty ass food. But anyways, so they give every child free lunch and free breakfast for a year, and then the very next year, Biden's president. And Biden comes out, and the Biden administration and the Department of Education says, well, we will give you the grant to continue free lunches. But if we give you the grant to continue free lunches for your school district in your state, you need to adopt these transgender policies. Okay. So if we want to make sure, hold on, let me finish. So if we want to make sure that our children are being properly fed a hot lunch at school for free, we need to adopt these specific transgender policies. And school districts were given the option to opt out, like, oh no, we're not going to adopt these policies, so we don't want your free lunch, type of thing. But I know our school district was one of them, and they actually sent us a long, lengthy email letting us know why they were no longer be offering free lunches. And I mean, they went into full detail about why they were not, and that was part. They went through the bill, through the thing from the government or whatever. And so yeah, they're being paid. School districts are being bribed. They're being paid. They're being threatened with, oh, we're going to take your tax money if you don't implement this. And that's why I am 100% against. I mean, I'm 100% for getting education out of the federal level. Put it back to the state level. Put it back to the local level. The federal government needs to get out of education.
But here's another thing is, you know, when you said something about Biden about saying, oh, well, you got to, here's my mind. Biden is a father and a grandfather and probably a great grandfather. How the hell can he say that?
Yes, it is going on 10 o'clock.
No, I'm talking about as a parent. How can you be like that?
We're gonna leave that for another episode, so because that would be a very interesting topic to talk about.
Yes.
So, last final thoughts. Anything?
I don't got no more final thoughts. I just want to say bye.
Alright, so there you go. Hopefully next week, if everything goes well, we could be able to do another one. But for
Yes, I
those,
will be here.
but for those tuning in, thank you very much, and y'all have a good night.
Good night.
You too, as well, everyone.